Hi, it's Melissa. Welcome to Messy Missy Creates. Welcome back. If you're new here, I have been making my journals out of Triscuit boxes. I'm going to make my April journal, by the way. And I've been making them out of my Triscuit boxes because my husband loves Triscuits. And, oh, we're being sung to by a bird. Do you hear him? And anyway, so I cut them down. This is going to be a start to finish. I'm going to try to do it within an hour. I generally can. Let me cut the box down first, and then we're going to talk about paper. So let me get this part out of the way. Now I have to use my big heavy-duty Fiskars. It's a rotary cutter, I do believe. Yeah. And it barely fits in my camera frame. So it will cut through cardboard, and it will cut through double layered cardboard. So I don't have to open it up before I cut off the top and the bottom. I mean, you got to give it a little bit of elbow grease. I do save these for tabs that I never make. So just in case you were wondering, I always think I'm going to make tabs out of them, and then I forget. So I need to apparently have a tab making session because I have tabs all over my craft room here. Now, I put them strategically in a spot so that I'll have them when I need them, and then I forget where I put them. Isn't that kind of the name of the game? Like everything else? Okay. So all I did was take the box and cut it down. Now I use this Triscuit box because it makes the perfect size journal for me. Now I have made them out of cereal boxes. It doesn't matter what kind of box you make it out of. I use the Triscuit box because I don't have to cut it down that much. I only have to make minimal cuts. Now, like right now, I'm going to open this up. And again, I could cut it. Well, perhaps I should have. Sometimes I tear more than I mean to tear when I tear them open, but I'm committed at this point. Okay, so what I do is I use one of these for, I don't want, this is about a 2.5 inch this, if I used it the way it was, or the way it is right now, this would be a 2.5 inch spine. I don't need that for a monthly journal. Now, if you're making a junk journal, I'd say go for it. I would say reinforce this a little bit better because it makes a very loose spine. I don't have one handy that I can show you. But what I do is I pick which one. I try to do the front just so that I can keep my orientation right. So I'm going to pick this first seam or first crease as the front side of my spine. I do make about a 1/2 inch. That's what I forgot to get out is my scoreboard. Oh well. Somebody told me in the last month's video I could use this crease as my scoring thing, and that might be what I have to do because I don't think I have my scoreboard handy. But anyway, I use this first one. So I use 12 by 6 paper. No, 12 by 9 papers, and I fold them in half, which gives me a 6 by 9 signature. So I want my cover to be about 6 1/4 to 6 1/2 by, this usually ends up being like 9 1/4 after I cut the tabs off. So that's why I use the Triscuit box. It's the family size Triscuit box, not the small one. So now what I want to do is I want to line this crease up that I'm going to use. I want to line it up with the 6 1/2 inch marker, which I don't think you can see that, but it's lined up with it. And then I make my first cut. So that is the front side of my journal. Now what I want to do is, because I want a 1/2 inch spine, I'm flipping this over. Well, I can keep it. This box was a little beat up. So I'm still measuring from that same spine, or that same seam. Say that 3 times fast. So if I want a 1/2 inch spine and I want a 6.5 inch wide journal, then that in journal math is 7 inches. So I would line it up to the 7 inch point and cut. Now, what that does is it makes us have to ignore this other seam. And I'm done with the trimmer for the moment. So right now it looks kind of wonky. Ooh, I just sat my stool on my foot. That hurt. Okay. We're going to ignore this back seam. And I keep it on the back. It will show a little bit. If you aren't using very thick papers, which sometimes I don't, and sometimes it shows a little bit. See, this is a covered journal with, this was from last May, I think. And this is using decent cardstock. You can't see that spine at all. I mean, you can't see that seam at all. So, I don't know that the paper that I have this month is going to be that thick, but anyway, okay, so now this is where I would need the scoring. Oh no, I'm not done with my trimmer. Let me see if my scoreboard is laying around somewhere handy. And I don't see it. How have you been? Have you made your April journal yet? I'm running a little bit behind. Today is April 2nd, which isn't too bad. Okay, I'm going to bring the trimmer back out because I don't see my scoreboard. And I've never tried this before. Someone suggested it on the last video, so I'm going to try it. The only problem is, there's no measurements right here, so I'm not going to get an exact 1/2 inch spine. Well, I guess I don't have to do a spine at all, and I could just do one fold. That makes it alligator a little bit more, and I'd have to trim. Let's see what let's just play around with it. Okay, so I think this line, you can't see the 6 right here. See the 6? And then we jump to 5.5. So I don't know, I think this line is 6. 6.5. If I flip it over this way and go to the 6.5. Yes, yet no. Okay. 6.5 plus 6 is 12.5. So if I put this line over here at the 12.5, that should give me about a 1/2 inch. Oh, I could have measured it with a ruler too, but yeah, there's always that. I just, you know, you got to think it through. And you're probably watching this going, duh. Okay, sorry, I was holding my breath. Now I think I'm done with this. And if that doesn't look like it's going to work, it will be close enough. Now what I want to do is tell this paper, this cardboard, that I want it to fold on that crease. And just got to kind of finagle with it. It doesn't have to be a complete fold. All you really need it to do is a 90 degree. Okay, I can tell right now that my back cover is longer than my front. So, let me measure to our new. So that did not give me a full 1/2 inch spine, but that's okay. So I'm just going to trim off that little sliver. What I did is measured, I put the new seam at 6.5 inches, and then I just cut off. So it should be fine. I hope all that made sense. I don't normally have to do that. I normally have my scoreboard, but here we go. Ta-da, we have a journal. And like I said, this back crease, I don't worry about. These are just for me. I think if I were to, even if I were to sell them or give them to somebody or whatever, I don't think it would be a big deal. Okay, so I ran into a little problem picking out my April paper. And I kept thinking, where is my April journal from last year? What did I use last year? What did I use last year? And I could not figure out, because I'd find all these flower papers, you know, all these bright and colorful. I'm like, no, I usually use that in May or June or August or whatever. And finally it occurred to me, now you've been hearing me talk about this and I'm not happy about it. It's because I normally use bunnies. I usually use Easter paper for April. Duh. So nothing that I was looking at or finding was appeasing my eye for April. Let me get that tape off before it ends up tearing one of the pieces of paper. Okay. So I don't want the real bright, you know, like real bright colors, but see, like that just to me says more in summertime. So this is the only pastel thing that I can find is this plaid. And I thought I could come back and I could do some, you know, pictures or print off some, or make some die cuts of some flowers. And I'm okay with that. Again, this is more paperweight than it is cardstock weight, which is fine. It just means I'm going to see that seam a little bit. So I'm kind of okay with that. Let me tear it out. And let me kind of pretend for a second. And I think that would be pretty. It just looks more Eastery to me. And though we normally have Easter in April. So then I've been saving this to make a garden journal. And I thought, well, I do a lot of gardening in April. I do a lot of gardening in May too, but I already have my May picked out because while I was trying to find April, I found the perfect flower for the perfect floral paper for May. I like the boots, I like the seeds, I like the birds, all the garden tools. Like I said, I was saving this for a garden journal. I think I might still have one more. I don't know if I can get it anymore. This is an older Jen Hatfield homemade. This is family growing together. It's got, you know, stuff on the back. I had 2 sheets, one of which I've been cutting out little pieces of it to use in the journal. And anyway, I think I'm just going to do this. I'm not that in love with that pastel plaid or gingham or whatever that is. I think I'm just going to do it because if I ever do make a garden journal, maybe I can find another piece of gardening cardstock. Surely they make another one somewhere. And I've been ending up doing a lot of my garden journaling in my daily journal anyway. So I'm thinking, all right, I'm just going to do it. Just do it. So this is where I cut it in half. I need to cut this strip off. I cut it in half. I don't have to have my big trimmer for this. I can use my regular paper trimmer. And I'm going to have to cut that strip off first. It's not fitting. And this is a directional, I never say this right. Because I always think of directionally challenged, because I might be slightly directionally challenged. No, actually I'm not. But I think you always hear that. So the direction matters. Because the print doesn't look right if it's this way. So I need to cut it in half this way. So I'm going to cut it at 6. And even though we have, the cover is 6.5, 6.5. I might have to cut the cover down just a hair more. Let's see. Let me cut this in half so it's at 6 inches. So I have... Sorry, I'm thinking out loud, and I know that that might be confusing. So when I put this on, and I put this on, I try not to leave more than about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. Because my tape that I use is 1.5 inches. So that's going to be pushing it, but I can always embellish. Yeah, that'll work. That will work. The other alternative is to cut the sides down to, I don't have to have a full 6.5 inches. I can do 6 1/4, but it allows me plenty of extra room. Yeah, so there we go. All right, I'm just gonna do it. Just do it. Some stray Easter washi there. I was journaling Easter yesterday. Now, do I want to use... I like the 2 boots in it. Oh, there's boots either... Oh, yeah, this is... Yeah. Just talked myself right into that. Or do I like this one on the front better? Oh, yes, I like the watering can, and yes, I'll use this one for my front, this one for my back, and it has 3 sets of boots in it, and the green watering can. So I like it. Now, that way I don't feel like I have to come back and embellish the front of the journal, because I never do. You know, you got to know yourself, right? I know that I always say I will, and I have good intentions, but the truth is, the reality is, I still don't even have my ribbon on my March washi. On my March... And I still didn't get my ribbon out for this one. Normally I do it when I'm making my journal. And last month I forgot to get it out, much like this month. So, y'all need to keep reminding me, put my whatever ribbon I choose on my journal. Okay, and then I just trim. I don't know what I did with my Tim Holtz scissors. I think they're in my drawer, you know, because, like, they might have actually gotten put up. Well, that's hanging over a little bit, but I'm not going to trim it. Trying not to cut the cardboard. Now, I save these because sometimes I use them as pockets on the end. Oh, I did not pick out my inside covers. I always forget about my inside covers. Okay. Glue this back on. And I find that it's easier to glue the whole thing instead of trimming off that bit beforehand, because then you have to line up 4 sides perfectly. This way you only have to line up 2, the side and the bottom, or in this case, perhaps the top and the side. Yeah. I'm going to look to see, after I throw my glue stick, I'm going to look to see how far over to come with my glue. And I'm going to go right to that U. That way I don't end up with a bunch of extra glue. Well, I went way over, but that's okay. Make sure to get it all around the edges. I don't do this left-handed very well, but for the sake of not sticking my hand in my glue, I'm going to try. Uh-oh. I see some that I missed. I want to get right up to that edge. All right, and I use the Scotch Create or some sort of Scotch Permanent glue. I love the Scotch Create. I was having trouble finding it. So when that one's gone, I don't know if I have another one. I know I don't have another one. I found some Scotch Permanent. It just says Permanent. It's not the Scotch Create. So I don't know if it's different. I haven't used it yet. But someone sent me this Scotch Create permanent. It's a glue pen, so it's like a liquid glue. And it works great too. So I've been using that a good bit. But anyway, like I said, I find that it's easier to trim this off than to measure it up front and then try to get it on perfectly. So it might make my pockets a hair crooked, but I'm not worried about it. So I don't have any of my paper out. Oh, I was not. I thought I was all prepared. I have these because when I thought I was going to do that pastel gingham, this matched. And actually it does match this okay. Hey, siren. Surprise, surprise. Oh, that's just pockets though. That's not my paper. I have got to find a paper to go on the inside. And the only paper pad that I have out is this one. And I doubt that we're going to find anything in this one. Or at least not something that I really like. I guess I could use this. Let me see. The rest of it's brighter colors. And some of it has like a distressed or aged look to it. And I don't really want that. That might work, but I don't really want red. Ay, ay, ay. How's that going to look with that? Not amazing. Let me get, hold on just a second. I'm looking in my paper for, I have a stack organizer for my 8.5 by 11 paper. Yeah, I'm not loving that. So this is that same paper I was just holding up. It's just like a marbled paper. I actually like that one better. I would have to use 2, I do believe, which is fine. This is very thick cardstock, so it would give the cover a lot of stability. And then if I used these as a pocket, it would match, right? Can you see? Yeah, that matches good enough. Okay, not what I had planned, but I really didn't. I changed my mind at the last minute, and that did not help the situation. Okay. So, I can't glue it this way because this is a little over 9 inches and this is only 8.5, so I have to do it this way. So I end up with a good bit of offcut scrap, which I can use for tags or something else. Let's see, I need glue. Glue is a good place to start. And I think I'm going to come to about here. No, I'm going all the way up to the seam with this one. Or close to the seam. You don't want, especially if it's real thick paper, you don't want it right up against your spine because it might hinder the closing. It might get hung up in the spine when you open and close it. So I'm going to glue it almost to the spine. And then I usually end up covering that little bit of extra. I'm pulling it away just a little bit. And then I end up, because see, that doesn't keep it from closing. So I'll just put a little strip of washi there and it does fine. So now I have to trim 2 sides. Oh, I do have my Tim Holtz scissors. They're right here. So, are you making your April journal? Do you make your own journals? Are you learning to make journals? What, where are you with your journal making skills right now? I know that when I do my journal making videos. I get some new people who are watching, and I'm assuming that's because you're wanting to learn how to make a journal, which that's awesome. I hope that some months I do it without a hitch. Some months I have to back up and punt like I just did because I forget something and I don't want to have to edit the video too much. And I don't like stopping and starting if I can help it. Well, anyway, there's lots of reasons for that. But I hope that this makes sense to you. If you have questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. I will tell you, and if I can remember, I will try to link this video. I made a video, made a video about making a journal, start to finish, back, a couple months ago. I made a friend a journal, and my friend in real life, and she was here with me when I was filming, and so she has never made a journal before, so she would be brand new. So if you're brand new, this would apply to you. And she was asking me questions along the way, like, why did I do that, or why did I do that? Things that I might not think to cover because I've made several of these at this point. More than several. So that one might be a good video if you're brand new, if there's questions that you have. But definitely feel free to ask me anything in the comments. I don't know that I consider my videos the best how-to videos. I don't know that I explain things that well, but I do try to. Sometimes when you've done something for a long time, there's some things you skip over because you've known them a long time and you assume that everybody else does, and that's not always the case. Okay, I'm just flattening it out a little bit. Okay, so now I can put my tape. Now you have the option here. Everything sticks to this. Now I will tell you what I'm using. You can use bookbinding tape. It's about $15 to $20 a roll, I think, or 10 to 20. This is fabric tape, like sports tape, in the first aid aisle at Walmart or a drugstore. I also found, one time I found it at Dollar Tree. It was a long time ago. I don't know if they still have it. But it's like $4 a roll or something like that. And one roll lasted me I know at least all year last year. So what I try to do is I try to line up with my lines on my mat. I try to line it up like this. I start on the outside cover, and I'm trying to, and I try not to get my arms all in the camera, but sometimes you just can't help it. It's very sticky. I stick it past my journal so that I can stick it to the mat. It's a non-stick mat. And I did not stick it on straight. I'm just trying to get it sort of straight. And then I'm going to slide this to kind of match. Again, doesn't have to be perfect, which is a good thing because it's not. There we go. It barely covered the seam for both sides. Now, if I don't have enough, sometimes I will push the excess to the back cover, because I typically always put right here along this front seam or the front cover in the spine. I usually put a piece of like rickrack or some kind of ribbon right there. Now, you have the option here of going all the way around. Now I'm going to fold this one down, and that covers the top. You can bring that to meet this right here, and you have a very secure spine. but you don't have to. And this is only a monthly journal, so it's not that, it's not like it's gonna, I'm not gonna be working in it for a year. So I'm not worried about it being super sturdy. And by adding that extra bit of tape, it's harder to push the needle through when I'm sewing in the signature. So I don't wrap it all the way. I have once or twice before. And maybe if I'm using a flimsier box, or I don't know. There's been a couple times that I've done it. That's all I know. So I'm going to kind of push this down and kind of burnish it down. It's good and stuck. And if it's not perfectly straight, when you close your journal, you're not going to see it. Now, if you get bookbinding tape, they make it in different colors. This, they only have white, I guess. I don't know. They might have other colors by now. I just don't know about them. So we have our journal cover. My end papers aren't as amazing as I like them to be, but they match in the color and they're good enough. And now I could glue in my pockets if I wanted, but it's time to sew in the signature. So let me move that aside and it'll give it a chance to dry. And sorry, I was turning around if you couldn't hear that. I was not facing the camera. I use this Pen & Gear sketch pad. It's a medium weight paper. It's, like I said, I looked for a long time for paper that I like. That was 9 by 12. And I did several marker tests on this, and I use ink for my backgrounds and things. Most of it does not bleed through. The only exception to that is like alcohol markers, Sharpies and Copics and stuff like that. So I have been very happy with this. It's like $3.98 for 50 sheets. And it's pretty good paper. It's also not so thick that you feel like you can't, you know, it makes your journal so bulky. Now, April has, I'm looking, 30 days. So I think I have one more sheet than what I need. So I want to count for 30 days. If you're going to do a double page spread, meaning when you open the book, you're going to do this page and this page, then you need half the amount of pages. So if you have 30 days, you would need 15 sheets, right? That's journal math. I was going to fold these already. I pulled them out of the pad. I didn't fold them already, though. I'm sorry. I know this is boring to watch. Let's see, 2. I think I had 16, because normally if it has 31 days, you have to use 16. But I do believe that we only have 30 days in April. So I think 15 will cover it. For all of you who have seen me do this 150 times, welcome back. I find myself still watching, even though I've made my own journals for a long time, I still watch videos when other people are making them. Well, for one, sometimes they're just entertaining. And 2, I like watching videos. And 3, I always learn some little tip or trick. It seems like, maybe not every time, but a lot of times, there's some little nuance that somebody else does that I don't think about doing. And I'm like, oh, that's clever. So, I try to, I haven't been counting my pages, so, because I've been talking. So I didn't do anything exciting yesterday. It was the day after Easter. Well, I did work in my journal. That was exciting. Not a lot to put in the journal for yesterday, so I'm not too far behind. And I really stayed home yesterday. I did not I don't work outside the home anyway, other than I volunteer at a clinic. But we went and did Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and my body was exhausted. So I was on my feet for 3 days straight and getting the yards ready, getting the house ready for Easter. We had all my family over. If you saw my last Easter video, you know that. You've heard all the stories of the egg hunts and the prizes and the money and the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. I do want the seams as flat as I can get them. Now, normally, and I will add this because if you have not made a journal at all and you are brand new to this, normally you would not want more than about 7 or 8 pages in a signature. A signature is this that you're going to sew into the journal. It's a group of papers that you're going to sew into the journal. And normally you wouldn't want 15 pages in there. So if I was making a junk journal that had a thicker spine, and I would stop here, sew this one in, and I'd have 2 or 3 of these signatures. But because this is my journal, and I'm just using it for the month, and for simplicity's sake, I do it all in one signature. And it works just fine for me. Yes, it gets thick. It gets a little harder to push through, to push the needle through. But you can, if you want it to use a hole punch, I mean a small hole punch, like the alligator, what do you call those things? The chompers. I have one sitting right next to me. I don't like my holes that big though, unless you're going to put like eyelets in them. You know, one of those punches, the big We Are Memory Keepers hole punch. Never mind. I can't think of what it's called. Okay. So what this does is, because all the pages are the same size, it's going to make the inside pages stick out a little bit. But you remember how I gave myself an extra 1/2 inch? Normally, if you didn't give yourself an extra width on your journal cover, you would need to trim that off or trim your pages down. But see, I have plenty of space to work with. And it also gives me plenty of space that if I want to add tabs or fabric or whatever borders to my, you know, my pages, I have plenty of room. That's why I give myself a 1/2 inch extra on my width. And okay, so I have somewhere because I make the same size journal every month, I have my little template. And you find yourself a sheet of paper that's the same height or close to it as the paper in your journal, your signatures. And I folded it in half. I folded it in half again and half again. And then you take the one in the middle, and I take the top where the folds intersect. I take the top one and the bottom one and the middle one for a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. Now you could do 5-hole pamphlet stitch if you want. I don't find that necessary for my journals. If I were using a lot of like different size papers and stuff, that's usually, now I do have a T at the top. It's right here. I just saw it. Well, it's faded, but it's there. It doesn't really matter so much because I'm only doing one signature. And I need a pencil. I'm gonna mark right here, mark right here, and mark right here. And that's where I'm gonna stick. Now, where that becomes important is if you're gonna mark and pre-punch holes in your cover, you would need to make sure that your top was the same top. Just in case there's, you know, because otherwise they won't line up right. But I don't do that. I punch through all of it at the same time. I try to make this as easy as I can. I also like them flush at the bottom, because if I'm going to add tabs, I usually do it to the top. Sometimes I'll center them, but most of the time I won't. So you want all your pages lined up, and you want that lined up with your kind of the center of your spine, or wherever. If you're doing a single signature, you kind of want it in the center of your spine. Looking for my ruler, sorry, it got under my mat. Can you tell my house is not level? And I'm just taking that ruler and I'm punching it down in there, and all at the bottom, and see it's pretty well centered. And then I'm going to hold it in place, and I'm going to clip it. Clip all the papers to the, now if you open it up all the way, it's going to shift, and I do it every time. I'm going to try really hard not to do it this time. A lot of people will do it like in a cradle. They make bookbinding cradles, but who's got time for all that? I'm taking them off the bottom because I stand mine up when I punch my holes. All right, so I've got my Tim Holtz little retractable hole punch that every time I make a journal, I say I need to clean this off because it's very sticky. And I never do, because when you go through the tape, it's going to make the adhesive stick to your... So I've got my thing level, kind of level, and I go straight through. And I'm going down to my second one, making sure my needle is level. Make sure the whole this thing right here, I make sure it's level this way, because otherwise you're going to end up, your holes aren't going to be lined up. And then I just kind of twist it and finesse it through. And work it through, and you can see where it's coming out. They're pretty lined up. If they're off a little bit, I don't stress over it. Okay, put that little guy up. And what? And now what? I have a needle in here somewhere. It's a big needle. And, oh, thread, darn. Because I had looked through and picked out my thread when I still was planning on doing my the pastel one. I wish I had, this will work. I wish I had more of that terracotta color. But that, I think, is the closest I'm... wait. But wait. Let's put all this up. I'm not using it. I'm not using that. See, I was going to use the pink. This is my... I'm going to use if I don't find something better. But I'm looking at that, and I think that is actually going to work perfectly with that darker color. I really love this. I can't wait to use it, but not your day. Not your day. All right. Clink, clink, clink. All right, how are we on time? I got to speed up. All right, I forgot to put that one up. So I'm going to take, rule of thumb is you do about 3 lengths. 1, 2, 3. Doesn't have to be perfect. I like extra. This is embroidery thread, by the way. And I like extra because I tie them. Every year, every month I say I'm going to put something on them. Like dangles or something. And I never do. So, just like I say I'm going to decorate my journal, and I never do. So if you want your tails on the outside of your journal, you start from the outside. And again, trying not to open up the journal. That's the mistake I make every time. And, oop, stick my finger, try not to bleed on the journal. A thimble wouldn't have helped that because I stuck it right in the middle of my finger. Okay, so up or down, it doesn't matter. And you do try to go through the same holes. And then back up through the top. I just twist and do it very gently. There we go. I can see that hole. The idea is to go back through the same holes. Oh, okay. I need to rethread that because I gotta go through one more hole. We weren't done. Shoot. All right. And then back through the middle. And this is where you try not to, you gotta go through the same hole, but you try not to split your threads. And you want to end up with one of your tails on one side of this thread and one on the other. And you don't want to split it. Okay, very good. All right, now I'm done with the needle. Go ahead and put it up. I found a needle. Actually, my sister found it when she came over for Easter the other day. And she found a needle embedded in my carpet. It was embedded horizontally, thank goodness. Now, I usually end up with more tails than that. I must have cut myself short. I take these off at this point. Some people still leave them on. But once I have all of my holes threaded, I take it off because then when I pull, it kind of centers the pages in between the threads there, if that makes sense. And then I just do knots. I don't know fancy knots. I just knot. And I have not had one come open yet. And again, these are just monthly journals. They're not going to get a lot of, I mean, yeah, you go back and look at, ooh. Okay, anyway, you get the idea. And then hopefully you did it the right way, and directionally right. And then I can add, if I have time, I can add my, oh, where did they go? Let's see, they are right here. I can add my pockets. And I always debate, I don't need both pockets, I just need one. Just one. I like that one. And I always debate on whether to do my washi before or after. I'm going to put my pocket down this time before my washi. Because sometimes if it's over like this and your washi is really wide, it will shorten your pocket a little bit. I use my art glitter glue for this, or, I use this so much making Easter cards. I need to clean the tip. Or this glue pen right here works. This makes a little bit of a finer bead than the glue pen, but that glue pen is the next best thing, in my opinion, to art glitter glue for doing this stuff. And then I try not to wiggle it. And I push in on the top just to make it buckle a little bit, and that way you can fit more in your pocket. And also the art glitter glue dries a little faster, so you don't have to wait on glue time or drying time. So we have a couple minutes. I think it would be fun to look at washi. I did not get out ribbon. I have some washi here. I have not switched out my washi for this month yet. And I have another basket. There we go. This is not full. They would all fit in one big basket. I had them all in this one, and then I got more washi, and then they exploded. Now it doesn't fit. Okay, so I want to find something that matches notes and stuff. This kind of terracotta, I keep calling it terracotta color, but it's really more of a, if it was fall, I'd say more of a pumpkin color. Like this has a bunch of colors because there's some blues and stuff in there too. That actually would look pretty. It's got all those colors and some gold. It's very thin. It's not very sticky. So I probably would have to back it with glue. That's the color I'm looking for. I don't necessarily want arrows. So let's look. This was the batch that I had out for March. Now I do think I'm looking for a gardening one because I have this is like my little boots. I got this at the Dollar Tree and it doesn't stick for the flip. But I think that's going to be too busy. I don't know. It's kind of cute. All right. Let's see if there's anything in here. See what I mean? It doesn't stick. It's cute though. And I don't know that it's really that good of a bargain to buy Dollar Tree's washi anyway, because you're paying $1.25 for one roll. Whereas I know the big thing I got at Hobby Lobby was like 30 rolls for $15 or something like that. And in my journal math, that makes them about 50 cents a piece. Actually, I think it was less than that. Ooh, this is kind of pretty. It's very subtle. It's a subtle floral. Okay, so that's in the running. I wish I had gotten my, out my ribbon. We could have picked a ribbon out for the front cover, but I can do that in the next video. I'm thinking that first, all these pumpkin ones match. I don't want pumpkins. Oh, I missed that in my Easter. Oh no. I didn't use my Peep Washi tape. That's horrible. I'll have to go back and add Peep Washi tape. Of course, I'm not done with my March journal. I asked in my last video if anybody wants to see me still work in the March journal. I'm looking for, I know I have another, oh, here it is. It's brighter colors though. I knew I had a better one with the stripe. That's not the right colors. Okay. Okay, never mind. I'm still thinking, even though I do like this, it is very subtle. I'm trying to get it re-rolled. That's not working so well, is it? Okay, I can fumble with that later. I think I like this one the best. It's not a very wide washi tape. Meaning it's not going to cover up a whole lot. Do we like that? I thought I did. I don't know now. Now maybe I don't. It has all the right colors in it. Okay, let's go back to this one. I actually think that's cute. It's very busy. But because this isn't very busy, Maybe that's why it works. All right, one more time, we're going to look at this one. Because I think this one's going to win, although this one is kind of cute. I'll have plenty of opportunities to use this gardening one. Yeah, I think I kind of like this one. And it's wide enough. It's the right width to hide the edge of the pocket and the cardboard and the tape. Okay, so that one wins. I don't know if y'all voted or voted. If you, I don't know why I just felt the need to enunciate that well. I don't know if any of you voted which one you like. I did not hear. So, no, I'm just kidding. This isn't live. You know that's not a bad idea though. If you want to see me make a journal live, I have not done that yet, but I can. If you want to see that for next month, drop that in the comments. All right, here we go. Now, you could always add, you could punch a hole, put eyelets in, and tie it up. And one of these days I might, but I don't usually have that much issue with it. It'll get bigger, you know, as the month goes on. Like this one. You know, it'll sit open a little bit, but it's not, I don't mind. I like it. I like it that way. Okay. I hope that I have enough papers in there. I felt weird only doing 15 pages. But if not, I can always tip in another page, right? Okay. So now we have a journal for April. I went ahead and made it a gardening journal. I hope I have another sheet of that paper so I can use it down the road. But I committed. I used it. I love it. And anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. If so, give me a thumbs up, like, subscribe, whatever. And if you want to. If you don't, don't. I don't usually ask for that. I just appreciate you watching. And I appreciate all of your comments. And let me know what you think. And I am working... Oh, one more note. And then I'm going to go. I did not do any printables. I didn't make any printables for March and April. I am working on some. I don't know, some new ones. I don't know when they're going to come out. But I will definitely let you know in another video. But I will definitely drop me a comment. Let me know if you want to see me finish up my March journal. If you want me just to jump ahead to April. So... And another glue book video in there somewhere. We're going to glue book in Leo Jr. I think I told you about that a couple videos ago. Anyway, all right. That's enough. Y'all have a great day. Bye.